Hey guys, it's Miguel at First Drive, and today we're going to go over the assembly of our Jeep 1, our largest Jeep vehicle. Let's get started. First and foremost, you want to make sure you have all the tools, parts, and accessories you need to put the vehicle together properly. The instructions call for a Phillips screwdriver, not included, a pair of pliers, not included, and these two, which will be for assembling the parts that have nuts on them. You want to make sure you have your charger, your remote, your bags of screws, of course, your assembly manual. And as far as parts are concerned, you want to make sure that all your parts coincide with the parts list that's in the beginning of your assembly manual. Let's take a look at all of our parts real quick so you can have a familiarity of what you're going to be working with. You have your steering wheel, your side running boards, your upholstered seats, your support bars for the side running boards. You have your four wheels, the tires, as well as the four simulated wheel covers, your front steering axle assembly, your front light bar, your roll bar assembly, your windshield, your front bumper, your two motors with the weather caps, and the front support bar, as well as the two side view mirrors. Once you determine that you have all the parts that you need, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure the vehicle turns on and operates. Once you remove the cover, you'll notice you have your two batteries in the black box where all the plugs go in. You'll notice that the one plug is not plugged in yet. You're going to want to connect that. That is your power source. Want to make sure it's nice and snug in there. And once everything is plugged in, push the button. As you can see, our vehicle is operating correctly. The first part of our assembly will be the front bumper assembly, including the light bar and support bar. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver for this. You're going to need to remove this screw and this screw that's already attached to the bumper cover. Simply grab the light bar, slide it in there so. Take the same screws you removed, simply put them right back. Next, we want to remove the screws that mount the support bar. I'm going to grab your support bar, line up the holes, and reinsert the same screws. Now, as I've stated in other videos, you might be tempted to use a power tool such as a drill, but let me remind you that some of these plastics are pretty soft and a power drill might be a little too strong and break some of the plastic. So take your time and use the hand tool. Once your bumper assembly is complete and you're happy with the results, basically what you want to do is slide it right into the space right here. There's one screw in with the bag of screws that's the only one this size. This is the one you want to use for the support bar. Now from the bag, with the black screws, you want to come around the front and look for the attachment holes You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we're going to turn our attention to the front steering axle assembly. Now, you'll see there's a bar attached to it, some zip ties. Simply cut them off. And what you want to do first is take the support bar, place it over the holes. Now, the axle assembly, you want to remove the nuts and washers that are attached. Put them to the side. The front steering assembly is a little tough to get on. It's going to take some wiggling and maneuvering, but once you have it down, you'll see that the thread is exposed at the bottom. You want to take the washer and nut that you removed, simply put it back on using the included plastic wrench. Once you're done with the one side, you want to repeat the same process on the other side. Once we're done installing our steering rack, we want to turn our attention to the front wheel assembly. Again, you want to remove the nut and washer at the end. Put it off to the side. Next, we want to turn our attention to the front wheel assembly. Once you've removed both nuts and washers from both sides of the spindles, you want to grab your motors. You want to make sure that the color-coded wires match the wiring coming out of the vehicle. In this case, the driver's side is red and green, and it matches the red and green coming from the vehicle. The passenger side has blue and yellow, whereas the passenger side on the vehicle itself also has blue and yellow. Simply take the motor, slide it through the spindle. You want to route the wiring through this hole, have the motor sit right there. Next, you want to grab your wheel. The hub falls right inside the motor. Secure it. You want to take the same nut and washer you had removed, and of course you want to tighten that up. Once your wheel assembly is secured, grab the wheel cover, 3 of the black screws. You want to line up the hole for the screws, the notches on the wheel itself. Finally, you want to take your motor, plug it in as such. And of course, we'll repeat this process on the passenger side. Once both of your motors are connected, you want to grab these black casings, which are protective coverings for the motor themselves, to keep moisture and other elements out of the motor and help your vehicle last a little bit longer. Simply look for the tabs inside the caps, line them up with the holes on the motor itself. And of course, the process is repeated on the other side. Next, we want to turn our attention to the rear wheel assembly. First, what you want to do is lift up the rear assembly and simply slide the bar and clip into place as such. Now you want to take your axle rod, remove the nut and washer from both ends. Simply slide the axle rod through. Grab your wheel assembly. Make sure it matches with the hub. You want to make sure the axle rod protrudes from the front of the wheel so that you can attach the nut and washer. Simply take the washer and nut you removed, place it back on. Process is repeated on the other side. And now what you want to do is take one of the plastic wrenches on one side and hold the other side and just tighten. This will keep the bar from spinning while you're tightening the wheel on. Again, finally, for the wheel assembly, you want to take your wheel cover, just like you did with the front wheels, line up the screw holes, grab a black screw, and simply secure it in place. And of course, the process is repeated on the other side. Next, we want to install our running boards. You'll notice your instruction manual will say door pedal. It's basically your running board. Simply slide into the tabs. Then we're going to take your support bar, lay it right here on top. Once the support bars are in place, simply grab your screws, secure one end to the body as such. Once your support bars are secured, you want to go ahead and secure the running board itself to the body. Our next step is the steering wheel. You want to make sure you connect this plug to the one that's coming out of the steering column, and you want to make sure the screw that holds the steering wheel to the column is actually in the steering wheel. You want to take that out first. Put it off to the side. Connect the two plugs. So for the click, and push the plug through, and you want to make sure that the hole on the shaft lines up with the hole of the steering wheel so that it will go across. Once you've lined up the steering wheel with the shaft, you'll notice the passenger side hole of the steering wheel is shaped like the actual nut. Simply place it in there, and from the driver's side, slide the screw and simply screw it into place. The next thing we're going to assemble is our seat. Simply come to the body of the vehicle and remove the two screws as such. Put them off to the side. Next, grab your seat assembly and you want to slide these tabs up into these notches on the body. Once the C is in place, you grab the same screws we just removed and simply slide them into the C hole. Again, the process is repeated on the other side. Now we're going to work on the windshield and side mirror assembly. First, we want to take the nut off both mirrors. I want to point out that it's important that you attach the mirrors to the windshield first before you put the windshield on the body, or else it'll become a little difficult. Once you replace the nut, again, you want to tighten that with the included plastic wrench. And of course, the process is repeated on the other side. Once you have your mirrors attached to the windshield, you want to make sure these little metal prongs connect to the inside of the windshield post. When you assemble the windshield, that powers your windshield light bar. That seems snug. That should be a good contact. That way, when your lights come on, your light bar comes on as well. Now, we want to turn our attention to the rear roll bar. You'll notice there's a screw on both of these pieces. You want to remove that for the installation. This would be your passenger side. This would be your driver's side. You want these holes facing each other when it's assembled. So, simply slide that here. You want to take the connecting bar, snap that into place. Of course, repeat the process on the passenger side. Now, take the top bar, simply slide it in. Now, you want to take the screw and the nut that we removed and reassemble. Once you're happy with this assembly, you're satisfied, just snap the bar into place. Once it clicks, it's secured. Same thing for the driver's side. And that completes the roll bar assembly. Your Jeep is now assembled. To conclude this video, I will show you how to pair your remote so that you can operate the vehicle via remote control. After you've inserted your two AAA batteries that are not included, you want to hold the forward and backward button down simultaneously until the red light starts blinking. Once it starts blinking, let go of the buttons and wait for the light to stop blinking. The remote should be paired now. Test it out. Left, right, and of course, reverse and forward. The vehicle is now paired to the remote. Your vehicle is now paired to the remote, and this concludes the assembly video for the Jeep One. We hope this video has been very informative and helpful to you. If you have any questions concerning any assembly or troubleshooting, our tech team is always around to answer any questions. We'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you.